Hey y'all, what's up? Your girl G here. Welcome back to my channel. Appreciate you for tuning in. Y'all, we're going to talk about this last part of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Y'all, the reunion concludes. There honestly wasn't too much because Sutton, y'all, she caught the Holy Ghost. Her body was shaking and we was all doing all the mostest. So they had to send Sutton out. So we really didn't get that much. And Big Cat got, she basically Big Cat, we onto your moves behind the scenes, okay? Miss Hilton. We know who you are and what you be doing and how you be scaring these ladies. But nonetheless, you guys, let's go ahead and pick up where we left off in the part 3 reunion, which was with Sutton basically telling Kyle, she was being a mean girl. She, was constantly coming after her. And Kyle was like, Sutton, what are you talking about? And Sutton was like, in the famous words of Denise Richards, watch the show. And so everybody was just kind of like keying off of that. So after that, Andy basically asked like, so, what does this mean for y'all going forward? And essentially that both was like, I love you. You're my friend. This isn't something so terrible that we can't, move on, from, just we'll be better in the future. So Andy, then all of a sudden says, well, so is Kathy getting ready to come out? And Garcelle looked like Kathy. And you see Kathy walking in from the back with all of her good, luxurious, rich white woman clothes on. The whole outfit was damn silver and Swarovski head to toe, and the little purse. She came walking on with that little ass purse. Boy, I was hollering because it's just like the thing of like, oh, here come Kathy Hilton. That's literally what it is. Like, Hilton is the name of Beverly Hills, like quite literally. So that's why, a lot of the women, as we saw like last season, they did not want the smoke, like period. But we, of course, got to get into, the breakdown of Kyle and Kathy and then basically how they are where they are now. So Kathy comes on, she sits next to Erica or whatever. And, Andy's like, so glad to see you. You're good. You're, glad to see you this season. Although you weren't on the show, like, did you watch it? She was like, no, I didn't watch nothing. She's like, but I like your show though. It's over real quick. Kathy's like, I got shit to do. Okay. So, he asked obviously Kathy about, Kyle and their relationship and how they are where they are now. And, they are glad to finally be talking. Kathy basically was just like, I was in the salon by myself and I just hear Kyle's voice go, oh, there goes my sister. She's like, I just started tearing up because, I just felt so, included. And like, Kathy is the rich white woman that low key, although she has people around her, it's one of those things where it's like you are around everybody, but you're still alone. Kathy, I think, does have this, like kind of little bit of insecurity about, being included or being friends with women and, having somebody who like actually considers her like, a friend or somebody, they're close with. But the problem is, Kathy, I think you let your insecurities kind of, create your reality of, people not effing with you because you want to threaten them, with all the access of things you could take away from them and how you'll react to them. Like, Kathy is very emotionally caboosive. Y'all know the word I'm trying to say. Is what I say over here, caboosive. She is all of those things, which is, while Kyle be having a reaction to Kathy the way she does. So they do the playback, of course, of last season where we obviously had to get into the fallout. And you see Kathy, you see Kyle talking mad cashman shit about Kathy. My sister this, my sister that, she, if you don't do what she says, she'll do this, and this. And then the whole situation that happened when Kathy went off in the Swiss Alps or whatever. And, Kyle started talking about like, oh, you told me, Kyle, we're leaving right now, And so, Kathy's form of friendship in her mind basically just means we all roll together. Like what one of us does, we all do. And it's like that's not what friends are. That's not what that means. And so I think that's where Kathy be losing it, because it's like a friend isn't just somebody like, oh, because you do it, I do it too, you know? And that's how Kathy operates. So obviously after the playback, Andy's asking, well, Kyle, seeing this and where you are now, like, how does that make you feel? And she's like, I obviously had to tell Kathy, what, be careful with the show or whatever, or like just prepare her, because I was saying all of these things and we weren't in a good spot. And so Kathy was like, Kyle told me ahead of time. So, I just appreciate it. The thing is, sometimes we do, say things when we're angry, and that's, shouldn't be held against you. And I was like, oh, real convenient. How all of a sudden you could forgive Kyle, that the things that she say when she angry, and you want to all of a sudden, use that logic, because when you was all upset how you was talking cash money shit about Kyle, and you don't want nobody to hold that against you, Kathy. So you want to sit here and just try to give, Kyle the grace, because that's what you want too. But the things that Kathy said, I'm sorry, Kathy, the things that you said is definitely, far worse than what Kyle said about you on the show, point blank, period. And so, Andy asked Kathy about how she, feels about the things that's going on with Kyle and Mauricio, and she's just like, whatever, my sister, I just want her to be happy. She's like, I did, kind of notice some things, a few years ago, maybe, 2-3 years ago, and seeing what was going on between her and Mo. And Kyle was like, well, that's not exactly right, like Kathy thought she knew, but it's like, no, it's not exactly right, because for Kyle, this is something that has been going on a long time, but she's just been trying to handle it, behind the scenes. So all of a sudden, literally all of a sudden, like Sutton like goes whoa, and like her arm starts jolting and her legs start shaking, and everybody's like huddled over her like, oh, lay down, and she like, I don't want to lay down, like they try to help her, and she's like, no, go to the hospital, call 911. No, I'm not going to the hospital. And she is just over there, like shaking. And so Garcelle takes Sutton to the back, and they get her, with some sugar, try to, get her blood sugar up. And so because her hand started swelling and they took her blood pressure, Crystal was like, your blood pressure literally is as high as mine. I think she maybe possibly had just like a little a blood pressure spike or whatever, and sometimes that can, affect you. And I think that's possibly what happened. The reason why, I don't know, but she goes in there, and it was so funny when Garcelle handed her the banana. She's like, I already had a banana. She's like, eat another. Like, girl, I don't want to hear nothing. Let me help you. I love Garcelle and Sutton's relationship. I just really do. So as Sutton's, getting helped and stuff, when I tell you Kathy didn't give a dim a damn of what's happening with Sutton, Kathy had on her to-do list for that day was getting Sutton's ass. Okay? That was on her to-do list. And you could tell she was ready, crystal in her hand and all, even though she had that crystal in her hand that's supposed to, breed good energy, good positive magnetic field. Kathy was there on red, like she was there on hammer time. And so as Sutton's literally hanging on for dear life, she over there talking with Eric about, oh, Christmas, I love the holidays. Erica's like, oh, you decorate the Christmas tree, whatever. She's like, yeah, I didn't take it down yet. I'm just getting ready to take it down. And it's like, them bitches over there talking about decorations, and Sutton's over there fighting for her life. Boy, I tell you. So when she gets up and walk away, Kathy starts whispering, oh, I think, what are the chances? I just think she knew I was coming for her. And Kyle snickered. And it's one of them things where it's very obvious Kyle came for Sutton because she did not expect what happened at the dinner party. she obviously felt, they came after her. And not only did you come after me, but it's like Kyle felt like because she is the OG, she has seniority. Not only that, like, okay, if you're my friend, don't try to like, blast me on the show. But the thing is, Kyle, you signed up for your reality, like to give your life. And so it's not that they was really trying to put you on blast, but girl, I'm asking questions to give you the opportunity to be the one to tell your story instead of everybody else just whispering about the headlines that is going on. Like, Kyle, we know that you know that we know that that it's popping off in the blogs. So to sit there and act like there isn't stuff to be questioned or talked about was crazy. And so I definitely think, obviously what that happening with Kyle and Kathy, watching the clips back and shit, she had it on her mind to take Sutton out, especially with the fact that, Sutton called, actually admitted, basically how Kyle felt, because Kyle's big thing always is the other ladies like, oh, they just, don't say nothing to Kathy because, they want to be invited to the parties and be involved in social like this and social like that. And when they did the playback, Sutton, admitted like to Kyle in front of all the ladies, like, Kyle, I had to call you and tell you I did know. I finally know what you're talking about because I experienced it. Kathy called me and, she yelled at me, like she ripped me a new one. And Kyle in the flashback was like, but yet you still didn't say nothing, on stage. And so it's like, Kyle, you be wanting all these other hoes to do your dirty work and come after Kathy because you too scared to do it. And then you gonna be good with her the next week. Like, you can't be mad at them for not taking on your battles. So with Sutton admitting literally, hey, I experienced what you talking about, Kyle. Kathy, ran me a new one. Obviously, Kathy don't like that. If there's anything Kathy don't want to do, is she wants to keep the facade up. And she was like, Andy, I just find it so funny, people talking about that. And I just laugh, And Andy was asking like, so do any of you feel like, women are scared to approach Kathy or like confront Kathy? And Crystal was like, yeah, there definitely is an air of like, all it takes is one call. Like, literally for Kathy, all it takes is one call and bitch, you out of there. No more parties, no more, like, you literally will get the scarlet letter. And even Erica was like, Kathy, because Erica called it out last season, especially with the fact that Erica called Kathy out for her homophobic remarks. Erica ain't scared. And see, that's the funny part is Kathy was like, I appreciate Erica, because she's honest and, she doesn't care what other people think. And although Erica speaks against Kathy, I think Kathy almost in a way respects the fact that Erica don't give a damn and is willing to speak her mind, and say something. Sometimes people are more respectful of a worthy opponent type situation. But also, it's a little bit of that mixed with, because Erica ain't scared and she don't give a damn, Kathy don't want her, speaking. Let me just be friends with her because the fact that she's not scared to say anything, I don't want to tamper with that. And that's definitely what it's giving. She's like, yeah, Erica, I just love the fact that, she doesn't care what anybody thinks, and that's why Erica's like, from my point of view as an outsider, we all know that Kathy basically equates Beverly Hills, point blank period. That last name Hilton holds a lot of motherfucking weight, okay? And so, for the other ladies, it's just kind of like, Kyle, you on your own with that one, good sis. But it is crazy, that Kathy does get to come out here and act like she don't know what everybody's talking about with your old threatening behind the scenes ass, trying to make sure everybody moves on one accord in your favor. Last season, Kathy, we know you said that. We know you did. And then you want to sit there and play like you did and you don't know why hoes are scared of you. Girl, bye. So they move on. At this point, Sutton and Garcelle, they gone. They go to the hospital. So like there really isn't that much to talk about. They end up getting into Kyle and Mauricio. It was sad watching that back. Like imagine having 20 almost go 30 going on 30 years with somebody, and they had the clips all the way back to like 2015, 2016, and then they do like the fast forward to current days, and it's like them barely kissing each other, them not talking to each other. It's heartbreaking, for Kyle obviously to watch that back. Um the thing also as well too is, not only are you watching that back, but now Andy got to ask, the hard questions, the questions that Kyle was trying to avoid all season, which was about Mauricio. Obviously throughout the years you've had rumors, you've had, things happen. It's not the first time. We all remember the infamous moment where LVP tried to get Brandy to bring the magazine that had the Mauricio story like plastered on the front of it. And Kyle, she said, she was like, obviously I'm married to him, so it's like I want to trust my husband, but to sit there and say that it didn't get to me would be a lie. As much as you be like, oh, I'm gonna trust my partner, these dudes will stick their dick in anything, okay? And especially a man as fine as Mauricio, okay? He gonna be able to get it each and any way from any woman, all right? Just ready, legs to the moon. He ain't even gotta say nothing, all right? Um, Mauricio to look at the girls and the panties fall, all right? So for Kyle, it's just like, of course, I want to trust my husband, but like I'm not gonna also be dumb, And so on the show, when she was like, things happen where, I did lose my trust and things like that. Andy finally asked, like, so was it something that Mauricio did that made you lose trust? And she didn't answer the question, but she answered the question. Like she didn't say yes or no, but she was like, I just all these years, things I just, we just kept moving, we swept under the rug because, things got busy. It's the kids, it's the show, it's, traveling, it's it's like I swept it on the rug, but at some point it's going to keep coming back up because it wasn't handled. I.e., I think Kyle was, hearing the whispers and she was ignoring it. I got life to live, I got kids to take care of. But when now all the kids, quite literally, you're about to become empty nesters. All they got is Portia. She's 16, so she's leaving in a couple of years. And so it's like you start to realize how, one, unhappy you are, and two, it's like, dang, what Kyle was worried about is kind of happening, where it's like, now we look up at each other and it's like, well, who are you type situation, and what are we going to talk about? So she didn't answer the question about Mauricio, but we all know. We all know, okay? So then, of course, we got to talk about Morgan. Long story short, Morgan was, I feel like Morgan was the emotional support that Kyle was looking for from Mauricio, and Morgan feels like an emotional void. And not only that, with Kyle clearly being a little bit more experimentative than she, probably allowed herself to be in the past, seeing a woman, she straight up said it. She was like, and Morgan's hot. Because Andy asked, and she's like, I don't know. And it's almost like she didn't want to answer it, I feel like, because she deep down know how Kathy feel about the homosexuals, okay? Y'all remember it? Because if she truly said that, like Erica said, which I believe she did, I think Kyle obviously is going to be nervous to admit that she want to, start a lesbian relationship, okay? She want to eat a little punani on the weekends, not throughout the weekday, just on the weekends, okay? She ain't jumped all the way in yet. She just pitter patter her feet in the water in the lesbian pond, okay? So it's just kind of like, Morgan was just a good friend to be there. And then I think possibly, Morgan was showing her a good time down there eating that kitty cat. Okay. And Kyle was into it for a little bit. Okay. But, of course, they asked Kyle, what does this mean for you and Morgan? Are you together? She's like, no, we are together. They did the music video, and Kyle was like, I didn't know what the gist of the music video was, like, until I got there. But they basically knew all the stuff that was going around, so they just played into the rumors, essentially, of like what was going on. Which is why they did the video the way they did it. Obviously, it's kind of a real clickbaity type situation. Um, Kyle just basically kind of admits, like, Morgan has just been there for her, a friend, and she don't know what's going on. She's trying to figure out. Like, Kyle literally is just in this space in her life where it's like, I'm trying to figure out what makes me happy. I don't know what it looks like, which is why when people ask questions, I don't got no answer for you, because shit, I don't know my goddamn self. So I will say too, when Andy asked, like, oh, when people were asking, like, okay, all this stuff was going on, and people were asking questions like, why don't you want to share the details? And she was like, because it's nobody's effing business. Straight up. And it's just kind of like, well, I mean, it kind of is, though. If we gonna use the show, that's kind of what you signed up for, reality TV. But I also understand, it's like, dang, who really wants to fillet their life open, for everybody to judge? What else happened? I really feel like, the last thing is they did kind of get into Mauricio and that whole, because he has like that show on Netflix called like Selling Beverly Hills or something like that. And he talked about what happened, with the Hiltons. Essentially, he got approached about opening up his own, brokerage or real estate agency. And Kathy was like, he told us on Thursday that he was leaving on Friday. And essentially on the show, Mauricio said, ultimately they were like, don't poach, our people, like, because at this point you are becoming competition. But also as well, when Mauricio left, I guess people left with him. And Kyle tried to clarify it by using like, oh well, when he was with them, he built like his team and his people, like, under himself. And so like she was like, I don't want to get in this, because we're in a good spot, like she didn't want to dig into it, because Kyle's like, I've already been through this. It's been hell. I don't want to go through it again. But what I do believe what happened with Mauricio is he, built his team over there at the Hiltons. And I think people wanted to go with him when he left. And they, of course, they felt some type of way about it. Because you can imagine how, if that's how Kathy acts, with when people try to call her out or, stand up to her, imagine how, maybe her husband took it when Mauricio decided to be like, you know what, I'm going to go out on my own and build my own stuff. You could imagine he probably was going to take it as some type of threat or attack. But truth be told, look at what Mauricio built. Like, this man literally has agencies out the wazoo from Mexico, Hawaii. He building stuff left and right. And so I think just him deciding to build his own, they were immediately going to take as a threat, because it's like, how dare you? Anyways, we're the Hiltons. You can't do better than us. People who have the type of status typically carry that type of, mentality or attitude. But overall, you guys, that really kind of was it. I can't think of anything else that they discussed. It really, like I said, was just about Kyle, moving on, trying to be healthier. Obviously with Mauricio, they are living in the same home, but not really addressing divorce. I think, like Kyle said, like, we're scared to even say the word or really admit that this is where it's going. Mauricio is the one that is going to move out the house. Cause he over there on Dancing with the Stars, he canoodling with the dancer over there. So it's like, for Kyle, it is also a little hurtful, because Mauricio, we knew Mauricio was gonna move on like fast. Okay, there wasn't no women that was gonna let that man get out and not try to hop on that D and do a full split. But yeah, y'all, he's gonna be the one to move at. And so, Kyle trying to figure that out. Obviously it's gonna take some time for her, so I wonder what it's gonna be like for her next season. But yeah, you guys, I appreciate you for tuning in. How do you guys feel about this season? Do y'all guys think that Sutton was scared that Kathy was gonna come for her down boots? What you guys feel about Dorit and Anne Marie possibly not coming back? I actually like Crystal and would like Crystal to come back, maybe in a friend capacity. And yeah, Erica, of course, she's gonna be back. And what do you guys think of Kyle and Kathy's relationship? Do y'all think finally that they'll be able to maintain it and not fall apart again? But I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I will catch you guys later. Bye.